Hey guys, hope you have a great Christmas. And we're back again on a Tuesday, December 27, because this is something we do and we basically cannot do without. Here we are back again with another, it's a short week, but I think we'll make it through and hopefully we will continue this next year and see you again on the the next continuations of your more. But today we're on book number 177, and I guess this book it resembles one of our core values. So let Chris introduce the reflections and let's dive in.
Actually, before I do that, you just reminded me of something, when you were saying like show up because we like it, because it matters, and because
Because
we enjoy
actually we
it.
missed
It's
it.
our
Talking about the weekend, right? We didn't do it, right? And then on a Monday we have this federal holiday, and everybody's kind of like still trying to get settled down with wherever
right.
they're at, traveling and all that. And I mean, for me, I miss it. We want to do that, but that's the thing. It's something that we do as if we're breathing. For me, anyway. I mean, I can't speak for Chris, but for me, I'm kind of missing when I go too long without talking about our core values and what we do, and we don't work for trains and all this thing. I mean, I love to reassure myself of the core values that I've learned thus far, and I want
Right.
to continue doing that and kind of live life to its fullest.
100%. And the reason I was even bringing that up is it's so funny because you're right. I do miss it. I missed it last night, even though I was with family for Christmas celebration stuff. It's like you almost become like a junkie a little bit for
We are.
for your own values. This is how bad it gets for me sometimes. My wife and I are going to New York City for New Year's Eve. I'm leaving on Thursday night to head out there. And because of that, this is a short week, Christmas, holidays, all this other stuff. There's no tennis. All of our tennis leagues are canceled for the week. Looking around going, shit, like I got to leave on Thursday. It's Tuesday night right now. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to play tennis this week if I don't. So I've been texting for the past hour. I've been texting back and forth with all of my tennis buddies, going like, "Yo, hey, can you like skip out of work tomorrow, or like, can we meet up tomorrow night, or like Thursday morning before I take off for a flight or whatever? Try to get my fix in a little bit,
Right.
And I finally, I mean, I had to ping like 8 people. Finally, I found one person that was available to do it in the middle of the day tomorrow. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I luckily have a flexible work schedule this week because like a lot of people are kind of like on and off a little bit. But I was like relieved. I was like, oh my god, I'm not gonna be able to play tennis all week. Like, and then we're not gonna have it's the same thing of like, when you start to live your values all the time and things you really care about, like it becomes like a drug. We talked about that
Right,
molecule of
right.
more. It's a good thing though. We're always addicted to stuff, but be addicted to good
I
stuff.
mean, if you
And
addiction is a two-way street, just like the compound effect,
right,
addictive or positive, because you can be addicted to
right,
learning and exploring. That's a good addiction. They
yep,
also have addictions of being healthy, being active. That's a good addiction. So to me, addiction, everything is a two-way street because there's always pros and cons and everything. And
for
you can
sure.
do something too much or too little, and you can do something is positive or negative. And one of these things is, I think for me, for the past 2.5 years, I feel like I'm fortunate to kind of stumble onto this path because for whatever the mental state I'm in, I enjoy that mental state. Whatever this is a mental state that, hey, life is good.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. So on to the actual
Onward.
reflection for Yomo for the day. The book that we're going to be talking about is this book called The Endurance, Shackleton's Incredible Voyage by the author Alfred Lansing. If you're not familiar with this book, I don't think you are. One of our core values of Clubany is endure. This book is about this polar expedition that this guy named Ernest Shackleton took his crew on. The boat they took them out on was called Endurance. And Endurance set sail for Antarctica. Their goal was to try to get to the actual South Pole, and nobody had technically done it yet at this point in time. It was back in 1914 and 1915. And they set out with this crew of people that they had planned this out, and they got pretty damn close. And all of a sudden, as they were, I think they were like a couple hundred, maybe 100 miles away or so. I can't remember exactly where they got to, but they got pretty damn close to where they were trying to go on the
Hmm.
sea. And then the ice that they were carving through froze up, and it froze their ship into there. And then all winter long, they were hunkered down in their ship. The ship slowly started to compress by the
Hmm.
ice, like slowly
Right.
but surely. So they had to abandon their ship because the ship got destroyed. Eventually, it cracked under the pressure of the ice, continued to form around it. They slept on the ice for like, that's when the whole endurance happened. The incredible voyage happened. From there, it was just a shit show of them trying to survive in bitter cold and exposed to the elements, and they were sleeping on ice. And eventually, they realized they weren't gonna that it was they had to do something to get the hell out of there. So they hatched a plan where they had a couple of their like what do you call those boats that like the lifeboats, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
like the shitty little like kind of dinghies, kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
that were not really seaworthy. Shackleton and he took like himself and one other person, and they crossed like some of the roughest seas of the South Antarctic Sea to try to find this outpost that did have a few people there because they couldn't radio to anybody. They were completely isolated. They were all going to die. He took this insane, scary trip across some of the craziest seas ever and survived. They got there barely, but they got there, and then they were able to bring people back to this little island that they had marooned the whole crew on eventually as they had been trekking across the ice. They were able to get, I don't know if everybody came home, but the majority of the crew came home and they were able to save themselves. This book is about that ordeal, Shackleton's incredible voyage of almost dying and somehow making it back. Ironically, I think he died actually not too many years later when he tried to go back to he did so. I can't remember how he died. He launched one more expedition into the Antarctic, that's right, and he died of a heart attack in his bunk and died in 1922. So only a few years later he got the wild bug again. He was like, I'm gonna go back and try to do it again, and then he died. But he survived.
He's gonna die anyway, regardless whether he went back or not.
Right.
It's a heart attack.
So this journey, exactly, this journey became the stuff of legends, basically, and because they survived and they got back, So that's what the book's about. It's a pretty haunting tale, to be honest with you. I mean, but it had a good ending because they did survive. So what did this make me think of? Finding the first track as a reflection. I think you probably know where I'm going with this one at this point in time. But, at Clubity, one of our core values that True and I don't know if it was the first kind of core value that you and I connected on. I think it was balance was our first core value that we really connected on. But Never Quit was the one that I came to you with right after that. And you slowly but surely morphed that into Endure, which I agree with now. Now I use Endure as well. I've shifted it for many reasons, and we can talk about that later. But long story short, the idea of endurance and human endurance has been an obsession of mine, I would say, for the past almost 3 years now, since I saw my daughter's incredible journey herself, right? Front row seats to the most strong and courageous being that I've ever witnessed in my life, and her fight for life every day, struggling to get past another obstacle, to keep trying just to exist in this world. Watching that and watching what she went through, it makes me think of nothing but questions about like, why do we do it at this point in time? I don't understand why humans are able to endure the way they are, why people like Shackleton is able to do what he did, while Amelia is able to do what Amelia does. And I honestly, like, I've thought about this ad nauseum for the past 3 years, and I don't know the answer still. I have no idea. All I know is it's just one of our superpowers. Like, we just adapt and endure. And like, I don't know what it is, and we can talk about it afterwards, but I'd love to get your thoughts as to if you have some secret understanding behind why we endure, other than life wants to exist. I mean, that's about as far as I've gotten at this point in time. This is what we do, and this is a superpower of humanity. And watching Amelia just and her journey, sitting back and being there and being present for that, like, it is something that I will never forget. It is burned into my brain, like her struggle and her fight and everything that she went through. And we've talked about this, but the day that she passed away, we got home at 7 a.m. from the hospital and just collapsed from exhaustion because we hadn't slept for like 4 to 5 days or something like that. And she, as we were, staying up with her as much as we could to try to, keep vigilance over her fight, my wife and I, we just passed out, like, just from sheer, just like exhaustion. And like, I will never forget the feeling of waking up. It was probably like noon that day or like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And it was actually kind of a nice day out. It was like a late April day and the weather was actually pretty nice. So the sun was shining and it was really nice out, but we were just in our bedroom and the shades drawn and I couldn't think of anything. Literally, like, I mean, there was not a single thought in my head. And eventually, though, the only thought that did pop in my head was Amelia and her ability to endure and fight. And I literally got up that moment and I was like, I said to myself, and I often say this, so I said this to myself just yesterday, because it was a holiday, and it was a day where I'm like, Chris, just sleep in. And then I look at myself and I ask the question that I always ask, like, what would Amelia do? Amelia fights. Amelia gets up. Amelia endures. Amelia just keeps going. It's like, I mean, I always think of whenever I have that any concerns about where do I go, like, I just that is the first track that my daughter laid for me was endure, and just keep fighting and just keep moving and just keep going. And I didn't recognize it at the time. I recognize it now after this journey, and I can think back retroactively, and I can, stuff that we've learned along the way. But Endure was the first track that she left for me to explore and to understand. And I will never probably stop trying to figure this out, like in reading stories like this and understanding other people's, endurance and why we do what we do. I don't know that I'll ever answer this question, but I know it's an important question for me and something that I'll be obsessed with forever, just knowing watching what Amelia went through. So that's the first track, right? The first track was the core value of endure, and it's something that I lean on heavily all the time. It's the why. It's why I get up every single day. It's why we do what we do. It's why I'm showing up here right now. Like, I could easily say it's the holidays. I just want to eat with my family and watch some stupid Christmas movie with my wife downstairs or whatever. Instead, we're talking right now because we endure. Like, we just keep pushing forward. We keep fighting. So that's the first track, and that's the reflection from today. And the question that I posed was, what feats of human endurance have inspired you to keep pushing forward yourself? Or what's your why? Or what are your thoughts on endurance? Love to get your thoughts.
For me, it's like, for up until this point, I have never been more inspired by anyone than Amelia from her journey in the book. For me, is when talking about inspirations of endurance, I cannot think of anyone more enduring than Amelia herself. And that's a secondhand account from your book, the way you wrote it, of Amelia after you took her off of the the machines, and
Yeah.
for her to push forward for longer than anyone can even expect. A little baby who has completely, like, her body has completely, like, given out on her, and she's still refusing to give. To me, this is the most inspiring image I can ever conjure up. And so, to me, the enduring of that is a perfect example of what we mean when we mean enduring. And to me, enduring is one of the top value in company, because to us, enduring is going to say, like, you have, like, we were talking about from the book A Man Search for Meaning. He says, Viktor Frankl, he say, a man with the why can endure anyhow, right? Can withstand anyhow. And this is what
Right.
we're talking about. And to me, a lot of the will of a human being, right? What you do and how much you do it, it depends on your mind. Your mind can tell you, say, hey, I can withstand this, or I can't. Just like we're talking about the guy who was able to withstand the Nazi camp. And we're talking about the people is also in the state where they start to smoke the last cigarette. They have given up mentally.
Right.
When they mentally give up, this is when they can't endure anymore. So enduring, to me, it has to go through that switch in your mind. Your mind, either you say, hey, I can do this. If you say you can't do this, you also.
Right.
And the thing is, when you have a core values that that's what you wanted, you can endure. I mean, I don't think there is a limit to how much you can endure, because I just don't see it, right? You either get it, because if you're talking about a baby, I mean, she's been fighting for a while, and her body has been just shutting down all over the place. And even after you took her off the machine, she refused to give up. For most babies, for most meat, right? She lasts like 3 or 4 times,
Right.
right? To me, where do you get that from, right? It's only from the wanting and the will. That's my theory anyway. The wanting and the will, the lion pride, right? You're the lion, she's a lioness, right? She
Right.
wants
Right.
to belong to this world with you and your wife.
Yeah.
That's why she wants to fight for it. There is a reason, there's a why. Right? To me, she may not completely consciously understand the why, but she knows she has a why, and that's why she did it. And to me, we can learn from that as well. If we understand our why, we understand our core values, and then I think the endurance can be done. Because you're talking
Yeah.
about, you look at Shackleton, right? I don't know what's going on in his head, but he has the mindset of, hey, I'm the captain, and I've got him into this predicament. It is my responsibility to get him out. So he went on and did whatever he needed
Right.
to save his passenger and his crew. Because that's all about mindset. Because if you say, okay,
Yeah. He should have
things
survived that. I mean, like,
things
there's
went out of my hand,
right.
it is what it is, smoke his last cigarette, then they died. But the thing is,
Right.
they say, well, I'm the captain. I was responsible. I did not foresee this problem. Yeah, I'm responsible. So he took on his accountability, and he was able to do the daring task of going, exploring, and figuring out how to get people out of it, regardless of how dangerous it is. So
Right.
he has made his mind He set his mind on say, I'm responsible, therefore I will do what is necessary. So the lesson for me is like whenever you have a why, you can endure anyhow. You can withstand anyhow. And to me, that's similar to what we learned from Viktor Frankl and also in this book as well to say, hey, how does enduring play a role in our life? And to
Right.
me, having something to fight for, it's what's going to keep me running. It's going to give me the energy. For whatever reason, it
Yeah.
energized me to think about my why.
It makes you
And that would continue to make my feet continue to push forward.
exactly. What would Amelia do? First off, thank you for saying that about Amelia. And like this is why you're right, number one. Like, and I really appreciate you saying that because she is the most courageous person I've ever met in my life and strongest person I've ever met. But it means a lot to hear that just because like that's what living for two is all about.
People
Or,
nowadays they didn't have the faculties. They're born with all the faculties. That is like 10 times, 100 times what Amelia got.
right.
And they can't even say, "Oh, my life sucks," or "I'm depressed." Well, I'm this, I'm that. You look at a baby who's 22 weeks premature, right? She doesn't have all her faculties, and even then, her faculties of her lungs, her heart, and her stomach. Even for that, you're talking about like what is her weapon? What makes her
I don't
endure
know.
more than anyone? Right? She
I
has
don't know.
nothing.
Yeah.
Everything has been taken away from being not having a developed body because it came out premature.
Right.
And then you're talking about the external world is attacking her system. A bunch of surgery, they cut this, cut that, and do this, do that. And the body is completely damaged. Even after that, and you took her off of the machines, and she's still hanging on. Right?
I don't understand. Why do you
To
think
me, to me, to me, what give me an example of what more inspiring do you need than that? Like I said,
that
I
life is
cannot
worth
think
it?
of the image of a little baby who is stacked against her. The odds are stacked against her. For her
100%.
to hang on, I just cannot think of anyone stronger than that baby.
I
Regardless,
can't
if you
either.
look at
I
all
mean,
the
yeah.
heroes in mythology, you don't find more inspirational stories than that.
I can't argue with you, obviously, because I mean, this is the image that's burned into my brain every single day. It's what would Amelia do, and I know exactly what she would do. You don't even ask; it's not even a question. You get up and you move. You keep going forward. I don't care what the problem is we have today. We keep moving forward. Like, I mean, that's it. And I don't know where that comes from. I would love to get your thoughts on why do you think we do that? I don't know, and I don't know that we'll ever know. I don't know there is an answer to this, but like
For me, it's all about the yearning and the wanting, right? You yearn for something, you want something, and you will endure because that's your why. And maybe
but
Amelia was
what is
born.
it? Like, what is it? Like, what did Amelia need or want? That like she may not have cognitively known what she was doing, but she knew
But
like what she was
that's the thing
doing.
is I'm
Like,
saying is the beaver must dam, right? Because you are born with a certain trait that you have, right? You're gonna use it, and she may be born with one specific trait is to yearn for life, to yearn to be part of the pride, to be part of your family. Maybe
yeah,
that's what she was. I mean, she may not consciously know it, but subconsciously, she was born with that set of DNA that wants to be a part of family, and she wants to live, right? She does exactly what a beaver does. Instinctively, she
yeah,
wants to
right,
survive,
right.
right? She wants to survive.
I
That's
know.
that's her
Like,
expressions of herself.
and it's the purest form of I want to survive too, because like there's no motive attached to it other than I just want to survive. I just want to be here. I don't know why, but like I just want
But
like
that's the
it
thing
and
is, that's what I'm saying is the beaver must stand because you're born with it. You're not saying, hey, a
right.
beaver, you don't say, hey, today I'm
I
going to want to
rationalized
make a
it,
dam. No,
yeah,
see,
right,
I must go build a dam. I mean,
right,
I'm driven to build this dam,
right.
right? I don't think about it. So
Yeah,
you look at a baby, man, she doesn't think about, hey, I'm not going to give up. Her her manifestations of her DNA, of her gene, is to want to survive, and she wants to hang on to the life that she was given. That's instinct,
yeah,
just instinct. And when we become older, like you and I become older, our conscious takes over, but our conscious can actually flip the switch and say, hey, I'll give up or I don't give up. A baby, her conscience hasn't been developed. So her instinct will come, hey, I want to survive. But
Yeah.
when you and I have become conscious of it, we have a secondary brain. It's called
Yeah,
forebrain,
we
right?
choose.
That
Yeah, you're right.
forebrain can suppress the decisions of the primitive brain, which is, your system one. And so that system is when you get to the conscious level, you have the ability to flip the switch. That means that because you and I can talk right today, and we are reasoning, that reasoning is going to tell the elephant, which is a system one, assist elephant to do certain thing, and we consciously, mentally say, look, I can't do this. I cannot endure that.
Right.
That is the switch. The switch is available to your conscious thoughts, and that conscious thought today can use the lessons because I'm saying like a lot of people, for whatever reason, they see the social media, the TVs and news or whatever, blogs and whatever on the internet. They say, hey, my life sucks. What do
Right.
you mean your life sucks?
Yeah, you're
I
here.
mean, you live in an age where you have everything at your fingertip. You have the knowledge of the world on your phone, in the palm of your hand. You don't have to go through the voyage like Christopher Columbus did to
Right.
go and to explore new things. You have all these, and you consuming all these toxic things, whether that's health and information and whatever, and then you telling yourself, hey, life's unfair. To me, this is conscious thought. So the lessons I get out of this endure is, to me, it's very powerful. That motivates me more than most. Is the image of Amelia being able to be herself as a beaver, and for me to have the capabilities of reasoning and forethought, and to succumb to all these negativities, right? I feel ashamed. I feel
Yeah.
utterly
Yeah. You're
ashamed of saying,
same
hey,
here.
fuck, this thing didn't go my way. Well, what the hell?
Right.
What the hell are you trying to? I mean, compared to a baby that's trying to hang on to life, that's nothing. That's
Yeah.
like a drop in the ocean.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's the, like I said, this is the
It's like,
first
all
track.
right,
I mean,
you
this is the first thing that I discovered, a few hours after she left. I'm so glad that she left that, because I mean, like I wrote in this reflection, we could have been. I have every right to hate my life and to be miserable. My daughter's not here. It's awful. Life sucks. This isn't fair. I have every right to say that, and I don't think anybody would ever tell me that I'm wrong if that how my life had developed. But I saw exactly what you're talking about, the purest form of humanity. We fight. We just keep going. Like, and you don't ever stop and you don't ever give up. That's when I told you never quit, right? And you're like, well, never quit's not really the right answer. Like, you can like when you get which I agree now. Like it's just endure. It's keep pushing and keep fighting and like never give up. But
right, because you say, hey, don't quit being a beaver.
right.
Don't quit being a baby, right? I mean, you have the DNA that manifests, and it must be manifest. It must be expressed. If you don't have that, then a lot of times you don't know who you are, and you're lost. If you're lost, then there's no need to endure. Because if you tell a
Yeah.
beaver to be howling at the moon, well, don't quit doing that. Say, well, what is it?
Right. Right. Yeah. Do what you're here for. You're so right. Like,
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the image of what you and I see, you say, hey,
right.
oh, it's Christmas. Say, I
Right.
deserve this, or I deserve like what the fuck?
Right.
Deserve
Right.
what?
Right.
Right? Just do you. Just be do what you need to do to be
Right.
you. Why do you need to watch Netflix? Why can you spend 1 hour to exercise, 1 hour
Right.
to read, 1 hour to do whatever you need to do? Hey, I'm a beaver, right? Or go talk on a podcast.
Right.
I mean, you saying, hey, I deserve a little, me time, and I go watch
Right.
Netflix.
Okay. No, I agree. I mean, I like it. So I think my final thoughts on this is I think you gave me a good reminder, and this is why we do this, because this gives me another good reminder is to like my wife and I, like we regularly butt heads, these days about like whatever, care for Luca or like what like and I know in the deepest recessions of my brain, like I'm so grateful to be able to like even care for my child, to even have him
Hmm.
here in this world, to be able to have my wife with me, but to your point, like we can like like
We missed it. We're missing
three
the
years
point.
ago. Right, exactly. 3 years ago, I couldn't even get out of bed, like, and think about, like, even do for the next, why do I want to be here? Like, now I'm worried
Mhm.
about, like, oh, should I go have this podcast tonight, or should I stay on the couch and eat some food and watch some TV and, be angry at my wife because we were, I don't know,
Mhm.
she had to take care of Luca extra time today and I got frustrated with her or whatever. It's such a good reminder of, like, put the shit aside and keep fighting and pushing and try to be who you want to be. And that's all that really matters, right? Just keep pushing.
If you think about it, if you can always remind yourself of that image, I get so pumped to think about her. I mean, she's not my daughter. I have never seen her. I only have seen her through my mind, through the words that you wrote. And even then, that inspired me. So even talking about this tonight, I'm completely pumped right now. It's like there's nothing I can't tackle right now. I can do whatever. I can endure anything right now because I've seen that image. It inspired me a lot. Just and I can't imagine how much it inspired you.
It's more of, I don't know the word. It's
Like
not
I say,
it's
word
yeah,
cannot
yeah.
accurately describes the image and the feeling that we got.
I think that's a good place to stop because I agree. Amelia is more than words can describe for me. But I appreciate your thoughts and your comments on this one. I really appreciate it. And thanks for tuning in. And for everybody else out there, like, what feats of human endurance have inspired you to keep pushing forward? And if Amelia is that person, like, that's great. That's what I'm doing this for. So I'm glad that would be I'm happy to share her with the world because she is that special. So if you want to learn more, I'm happy to always talk about her. So let me know. And thanks for tuning in, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Good night.